My name is Irene Holmes. I'm from Olympia, Washington. And I'm the victim of family corruption and law enforcement abuse. My name is Irene Holmes. I'm from Olympia, Washington. This is Richard when he used to live with us. This is in 2010 when he was in foster care. These are my 3 boys. Here's some other pictures of my kids. Here's Michael. My baby daughter, Colleen, got taken away from the hospital. And these are all 4 of my kids, what they look like today. My 4 children is Richard is 6, Tim Jr. is 3, Michael is 2, and Colleen is almost 6 months. They took Richard and Timmy away December of 2009, a week before Christmas. I was in the hospital. And I had something funny was going on in the hospital because they took a long time. They said there's no such thing as a caller ID button in the hospital. My son, Richie, helped me search for the caller ID button. He found the remote control of the TV first. And then I helped give him directions to find the caller ID button. Nobody would help me in the hospital. This was Stevens Hospital in Edmonds, Washington. They don't help you. I had to go out in the hallway to go try to find some diapers because the ER who took me to the hospital didn't grab the diaper bag after I gave them directions. They're in my house for three different times. And I went to the hospital because of my stomach. And next thing you know, we're admitted about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get to leave the hospital until 11. And they took my children away from the hospital, and I had to go to jail for not appearing in court. Linwood pulled me over. I tried to give him my P.O. box. It was the only address I had. He said they don't accept no such thing as a P.O. box. It had to be a physical address only. So he sent the information to my old address. And I didn't know I had to go to court. And so I had a warrant for my arrest. And at the time, I didn't have the money to pay the $100 for my warrant. So when I went to the hospital, they found it out and called the cops. And Tim, the father, wasn't around to help take me to the hospital, so I had to call 911 because I was hurting. And I went to jail, had to plead guilty overnight, even though I wasn't guilty. In other words, I would have had to stay in jail for 2 weeks. So I was forced to stay in jail overnight. And the children went away, and the social worker, Tripp from Snohomish County, said Tim wasn't the father. And I told her, yes, he is. She kept lying, and pick up Richard and threw her over the shoulder and walked fast out of the hospital. And my friend from the church saw Trit, the social worker. She told me that he was running out of the hospital with Richard and baby Timmy. They told him to get it out of the hospital ASAP. And once I had tried to step my foot forward, the cops put their foot in front of me. They put each shoulder hand on my shoulders. They grabbed my shoulders so tight that they hurt my shoulder, and they wouldn't let me walk. And then they put me in handcuffs and took me to the car, and I hurt my wrist, and they weren't very careful at all. And after a while, we did go to court, and everybody kept talking us out of not going to court. So we listened to what everybody says, and they went into dependency. And they just went from foster home to foster home, and we went to we lived in an RV, and they didn't like our RV because it's small. It was a 25-foot fifth wheel, and it was cluttered. And because of the RV, we didn't get to have our children because of the RV. And also because they say I was mentally ill, which I wasn't. I was just, I was up over 12 hours with a lack of sleep. And then, of course, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, so you're really sleepy and had troubles trying to stay awake. The kids are sleepy, and, you know, because it's time to, you know, be in bed. And we moved to Centralia to be closer to our kids, and then we moved to Nisqually. And we had a baby, Michael, and Thurston County was on our side at the time. They were on our side, and they allowed us to keep Michael. They told us in homemasters that they're not going to take Michael away. In fact, the Friday after we had Michael, someone called the police and says we kidnapped Michael from the hospital. And which was false, because there's a security. Once you go by those doors or windows or the elevator, it locks the whole hospital down. No one can get in or out. It's that tight. It was security. Plus you got security guard out front. So it was impossible. So later we found out it was CPS down in Snohomish County that reported the false crime because they wanted that baby, and they told Thurston County to get that baby out of there or they're going to hurt their baby. But the investigator told them that they don't see any harm. They were safe. We looked safe to them, and they gave us 3 months to find another home. Well, we found another home, and it was proven that our house was safe and clean and everything. So now we've already taken care of the problem that they said that we had. And we ended up they ended up taking Michael away because he bit his tongue. He only had 1 tooth at the bottom, and after I sat him down on the floor 3 times, he bit his tongue. Tim said it happened 2 minutes after I walked away. And, you know, we followed and did what the doctor said, applied ice and all that, and apply a wet rag. So you did everything he said. Every time they start moving, you know, or suck on something, it starts to bleed. But it stopped to bleed at the end. They say, don't take him to the hospital. So we didn't take him to the hospital because the doctor said it's no use. They can't sew a tongue. You're just going to be going to the hospital they can't do anything for you. So we just followed the doctor's advice, but yet CPS said I abused Michael by setting him down on the floor. They said it was my fault that he bit his tongue. And so they took Michael away that next Friday, the first Friday of July of 2011. And And then we had a baby last July. She got taken away from the hospital because we didn't get prenatal care because we wanted to trying to hide the baby from CPS. And they put a hospital lockdown on the hospital. All the hospitals surrounded around Washington, go 2-3 states over. When you look at this, the state of America, and we're on a safety harm alert on all the hospitals. My lawyer told me about that, and she said, you should have told me about this because I would have warned you about what they did. And when the hospital called, they told us, you get that baby out of their care ASAP or they're going to hurt the baby. But yet the hospital staff, they didn't see what the harm was because we're safe with our kids, we're safe with our baby, doing everything normal and everything. The hospital allowed me to nurse and take care of it, and we got to go in the nursing room, and Tim and I had to go separately because it was a small room, but we were able to take care of the baby in there, and they saw how safe we were with our baby. And today we're in a termination trial, and they're terminating all our rights for the boys, and they have already told us they're going to terminate our rights for Colleen too. We filed an appeal for Colleen, so we're just waiting for the appeal to see what they say. What CPS is just waiting so they can file that termination for her too. And I'd just like to ask the congressman and if they can, and the Washington State Legislature to help maybe put some jury through the court systems, or try to do something to help us parents like me help get our children back, and help other parents, to warn other parents so they won't get their children taken away like I did.
Let me get clear how many children you have.
4.
And they range currently in age from how old to how old?
From 6 to 6 months.
And when were each of them taken? What age were they at when they were taken away from you?
Richard was 3 years and 3 months, and Timmy was 7 months when he got taken away. Michael was 9 months, and Colleen was taken away 3 days after we left, after we were both released from the hospital.
What was the reason for the first child being taken, or the alleged reason?
The first 2 children were taken away because cluttered fifth wheel, and the fifth wheel is too small for children, and because they're saying I was mentally ill when I was actually just tired from the lack of sleep.
Do you think the government has any position taking away children from parents because they have a cluttered RV?
I don't think it's right. They should, but they end up doing whatever they want.
Do you get to see your children?
Yes, twice a week.
For how long?
3 hours. It used to be 4 hours, and they shortened to 3.
Is it supervised or unsupervised?
Supervised. We used to have 1 supervisor. Now ever since Colleen came in the picture, they say we have to have 2 because we're at harmless risk and we're going to be hurting the supervisors.
Have you ever hurt anyone in your life?
Nope.
I want you to say that as a soundbite. I've never hurt anyone in my life.
I've never hurt anybody in my life.
Have you ever hurt any of your children?
I've never hurt any of my children.
Have you done anything to ever put your children in risk of being harmed?
I've never done anything to put my children at risk of harm.
If you could afford $1 million oceanfront mansion in Olympia, would you live there?
No.
Why not?
Because Washington is too strict, and their law sucks, and they seem all they care about is money. They don't care about people. They don't respect you.
Let me ask the question a different way. If you had $1 million to spend on a home in cash, and it was given to you solely for that purpose, Would you live in a cluttered RV or would you buy a beautiful home?
No, I'd go buy one of those castles.
It's not a question of you not wanting to provide the best you can for your children. Don't you do that?
Yep.
Have you ever heard of anybody else who lost their children because they lived in an RV?
I've heard of some other people, yeah.
Are you mentally ill?
No,
Say that as a soundbite for me.
I'm not mentally ill.
Have they ever forced you to take a psych eval?
Yes, they have.
Tell
Twice.
me, talk about that and what the results were.
I've had two psychological evals, one from Snohomish County and one from Thurston County. Snohomish County had us originally, and then we had the case transferred down to Thurston because we trusted Thurston County at the time until Snohomish had a little chit-chat with them, and then they changed their mind. And Dr. Larry is the second doctor eval, and both of them are almost identical. They said that I'm retarded, I'm paranoid, and there were some other issues that they said I had. And it seems to match up to some of those, about three of them match up to what they say Tim has. Which I hear from my lawyer that every single parent that gets a psychic eval from Dr. Larry is retarded and paranoid.
Are you paranoid?
No.
So you realize they do this to other people, not just you.
Yep, they do it to everybody.
Now, you were given 3 months to get something other than an RV to live in,
Yes.
and you got something.
Yes.
Why didn't they return the children? What was their excuse at that time?
They say we're not safe with the kids because of Dr. Larry, and that other doctor, psychological doctor, says we're not capable of taking care of our children ever in the foreseen future. So because of what the psychological report says, that's the reason they're terminating our rights. Only.
Has anybody checked the credentials of these psychologists to see if they got them from a diploma mill in Missouri that has issued them to house cats and serial killers?
No, I have no idea.
We need to get Jan Smith to check. There is a place in Missouri that issues them. There's a house cat that has 35 diplomas and degrees, and a serial killer has 6. It would be wonderful for your case if we could determine that these people don't have the credentials and they're using bogus credentials. They very well may not be.
Yeah.
But if they lie like that, they very well might be. It'd be worth looking into.
Yeah.
I would do it if I were you.
Yeah.
Tell me how this makes you feel personally. How this has impacted you. How in the world can you even put one foot in front of another after having your children all stolen from you, kidnapped from you?
It was hard at the beginning. I basically gave up and just wanted to play a bunch of video games. Of course, you still clean your house, keep your house organized, and eat. But you just, all the stuff you used to love to do, you just stopped doing it. But then over the years, I've learned, even though Michael and Colleen got taken away, I've learned more ever since Colleen got taken away that you can't give up, you gotta keep going. And I made up this song ever since Michael was born. It basically talks about, I want to be like my big brothers. And then you start naming all the different skills they do as they get older, like they roll over and they talk, Well, you do that and you just say, I want to be like my big brother. And then toward the end, I want to be like my big brothers and my mom and dad too. I made up that song for Michael and also for all my kids. It encourages them to keep going. And they just love that song. And even baby Colleen, I sing that song to her, she smiles. And it helps encourage the kids to keep going. And I like to write songs and stuff for them, and just whatever's going through, I sit there and write a song or a story. And I brought it to the visit a few times, and I even gave a CD to my son Richard about some different songs and stories I sing. And they just listen to it, and we listened to it during our visit one time. And all the kids were just getting a kick out of it. Richard would point to what song he wanted to listen to, and they would, even Colleen was getting into it, and when she was starting to get into a song and then Richard wanted to listen to another, she started crying just because she wanted to keep listening to that song. I made up a story song from when they're born all the way from when they die, and it just basically talks a little bit about, what they, just a little bit about the stuff they might do in their life, and you just hope that you can be with them. And I just have to pray, and all these classes I took, I just learned to take the past, to let the past go, let all the bad things go, and get on with your life.
Do you have to pay for supervised visits?
We have to bring all the supplies, food, drinks, everything. We have to supply everything, just like if you had them in your house or you're going on a small trip or something. You have to buy everything for them, supply everything, clothes and everything. So if they have a change of clothes, you have to bring it. Diapers, wipes, food, everything.
Do they also require you to pay a fee for the supervisors?
No, we don't pay the fee.
Well, that's a small benefit. I have one woman, she can't afford to turn on her electricity because she has to pay $400 an hour because they have an attorney who says that's his fee as the supervisor. And she said, my electric bill last month, this was in the middle of the summer, was $12. And I said, what does that mean? She said, well, I can't afford it. And then she explained, can't afford to turn on my electricity. She works 4 jobs.
Oh, man. They do have us paid child support.
Oh, I'm sorry, you pay child support?
Yes, we have to pay child support, and we're having troubles paying our electricity.
You have to pay child support for your children not to live with you.
Right.
And to live in foster care.
Yeah, just like if parents are getting a divorce, yes. CPS forces you to pay child support. Tim pays child support too, but he pays more than I do.
In your opinion, should the government be able to say who is and isn't a parent?
No.
Say that as a soundbite for me, if you will.
Okay. The government should not say or do to say who can be a parent.
Now, you're the mother of your 4 children?
I'm the mother of the 4 children.
And do I understand that you're currently facing a hearing where they will take away and say you're no longer the mother?
Yes, they are.
Say that as a soundbite, if you will.
I'm in the middle of a termination hearing where I have a chance of getting my rights taken away, where I will not be a mother anymore.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel frustrated, upset, angry, but I don't try not letting it bother me. They're going to do whatever they want to do to you.
Do you think if you were rich, this would be happening to you?
If I was rich, this probably not be happening to me.
Before I ask you a few last questions, is there anything else that you want to say or that you haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
Just say something to my kids at the end.
We'll do that as a separate deal. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I believe that the country is discriminating people with disabilities just so they can have an easier way to steal kids away from parents. Lawless America means trying to help people, help this American justice, trying to get this American justice back in line where it belongs. Instead of today we have America is corrupted, and if our old presidents was to come to this earth today, they would be very angry on the way this American country is running right now. Everybody in America and ourselves and our children would like to have America back. I got 4 children, and they're all got taken away because we have a learning disability, and Dr. O'Leary, the psychologist doctor, says we're not capable of taking care of our children safely. And so because of his psychological report, that's the only thing they have on us is his report, and that's all they're using. They in court, they used to trying to come up with some safety hazards, but now, since I turned in some papers, they can't seem to come up with anything. And they want to terminate our parental rights. We have compliance to many classes ordered by court, and we have changed a lot for our kids and for ourselves. Our kids are being abused by CPS. Please help our children come back home to us. To Richard Vernon, Tim Jr., Michael Jesse, and Colleen Mary Holmes Kettleson. Our 4 wonderful kids, I'm sorry for what you're going through. We never wanted you to leave. We always wanted you to live with us. We're trying our best to fight the corrupted system to get you back home to us, where you belong. Keep trying your best and never give up. Keep looking up in the right direction, and somehow we will all be reunited again someday soon. We love and miss you all. We hope to see you again. To home to stay. And Richard, I'm sorry you have to live by yourself away from your siblings. I know you worry about your siblings a lot. And if you ever can be with them again, I know you'll try your best to keep your siblings from never forgetting us and trying to help them, encourage them to keep trying and keep trying your best, all of you, and just keep listening to those songs and read the Book of Mormon, Richard. It will also help you. And pray to God and hope that you'll be able to be reunited with us again someday. I love you, kids. My name is Irene Holmes. I'm from Olympia, Washington. I have 4 kids, and my kids were wrongfully taken away from me. and I'd like to sing this song for them. I want to be like my brothers. I want to smile like my brothers, roll over like my brothers, sit up like my brothers, be like my brothers too. I want to read like my brothers, stand like my brothers, crawl like my brothers, be like my brothers too. Oh, I want to talk like my brothers, walk like my brothers, run like my brothers, be like my brothers too. I want to play like my brothers, write like my brothers, laugh like my brothers, be like my brothers too. Oh, I want to be like my brothers too, and my mom and dad too. Na 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 na.